Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about 4 tips I've learned over the last 5 years working as a software engineer that would have helped me immensely if I knew when I first started. So I thought this could be helpful to some of you out there on your computer science journey or maybe in your early career. So number 4 is something big will break when you deploy your code or when you go to production with some changes that you made. This is just inevitable and it's something that all software engineers go through. It's almost like a rite of passage. So learning to cope with these things and learning to mitigate the impact of it can be a very good learning experience and help you along your journey much faster than if you didn't use these tactics. So first, you want to log and debug efficiently. You want to be able to go into your data systems, go into your code base and add some logs, add some debug statements where applicable, and make sure they're only triggering on expected failures and failures that may be uncaught. So make sure that these things are being handled gracefully so that when you roll out to production, you can monitor the systems and make sure that they're looking good and everything is being tracked accordingly. And any fires that do occur, you can go in and debug them immediately and put them out within hours instead of days. So that's a really good tip and something I've used many times. So another thing you want to do is communicate very loudly when something like this occurs. So you want to make sure that everyone knows, all your teammates, your manager, all technology departments that are related to the feature, people who are stakeholders, just let them know that the feature is not working as expected and you're looking into it, trying your best to debug and resolve this as soon as possible. Go in and open those communication channels. This may be scary at first. You may be thinking, oh, now I'm gonna take a bunch of blame and people are gonna hate me. Well, it's actually quite the opposite effect. If you do let this slide under the rug and someone uncovers it eventually, it looks much worse on you than if you found out initially and you told everyone yourself. Because it shows that you are truthful, you have integrity, and people can go to you for reliability if they need, which is super important in this role because people want to know that the software you're building isn't going to lose money and potentially blow up. So this is a very important point. So number 3 is not everyone will recognize your output or your features and give you credit for them, because there are some features that we build that are under the hood. There may be core infrastructure or some technology changes and they may not be initially seen, and some stuff is just like performance improvements that may be minor, but to you it was a lot of work and you put in a lot of effort and you're not getting rewarded accordingly for that. One thing I found that really helps with this is going to your manager, scheduling one-on-ones and kind of keeping them up to date with what's going on, what have you been working on, like what the progress is, and then it just shows how much effort you've been putting in and how much work went into something that you built. And your manager will give you the recognition, your manager will push it up higher so that people know that you've been doing this, and then when it comes time for promotions and salary raises, you are looking good. If you don't do this and it comes to performance review time, it may look poorly on you and may not reflect the correct work that you've done. So it's always good to stand up for yourself and be an advocate for your own work. Number 2 is to find different ways to add value. So when I first started, I had bad imposter syndrome. Some of you may be feeling this, but imposter syndrome is basically the phenomenon where you don't feel like you belong in this role because you're unfit or you don't have the skills to produce results that other coworkers that you are around are producing. This is a very common occurrence. It happens in many fields, so don't feel like you're alone in this. And this is one of the outcomes of imposter syndrome, is you're not feeling like you're adding the value that you should be. And in a software engineering role, there are many ways to add value that are not necessarily completing as many features as possible, but they're looking into things on your own. Like you can check for stray bugs. You can go into Slack channels, look for bug postings or errors that people have encountered, maybe production issues, and then you can start looking into those things on your own. And if you don't know how to resolve it, you can forward it to someone who has worked on it. Maybe they're unaware, and you can work on it together. You can do pair programming, pair debugging, and it all in all ends up you on top with getting better debugging skills, problem solving skills, and you're contributing to company's value, because I've seen bugs that have had nasty effects. They're in the tens of thousands of dollars worth of losses, and that's just terrible for the business. And this is where you're adding value even more than your salary is worth. So There's small ways that could have huge impacts. In that way. Another thing you can do is add documentation. So if you find that there's documentation lacking and you didn't understand something or something wasn't quite clear, you can go in and actually update the documentation for code and for technical docs that don't seem quite right. Because remember, if it's confusing to you, it'll be confusing to someone else. And you want to keep these specs and docs up to date just so other people don't encounter the same problems you do. And people will take notice. People will know that, oh, you've been documenting a lot, it'll look good on you all around. And in terms of a value add, other engineers would have had to go through the same processes you did and find the same results where you could have just written it down and displayed it somewhere. And it would have been a lot of time saved on their end. So definitely performance improvement overall. Number one, and the most important out of all of these, is to take care of yourself. So this means don't overwork yourself, don't sleep too late, make sure you're eating at the right times, because it's all a trickle-down effect. If you're not taking care of yourself, you're not performing well. It shows you're maybe more tired during the day and you have to take a nap or do something during lunch, and you're just all around groggy, you're not attentive during meetings. Also making sure that you take PTO when you're feeling burnt out, and spending time with friends and family accordingly. And invest in yourself, invest in skills that'll help you with communication, presentations, all these things. They're very, very useful skills in this industry. And it'll help you accelerate your career faster than you think it will. All these things have a contributing factor, and it affects your mood, it affects your stress levels. So make it last and make it a fruitful and fulfilling career that you want to be able to work as long as possible and not have that be dictated by health conditions and things of that sort. So in the end, you're working to live, not living to work. I hope you liked the video. I hope you got a lot out of it. If you have any other tips that people can use or advice for people, please leave it in the comments. I'm open to reading everything and responding to comments. So if you like the video, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.